This is TWiT.
Where are these settings? Is it in the settings app?
In camera? In camera, there's two settings, one for video and one for image. The video one is on by default because when it does that new quick video, it needs to auto stabilize, and that means it either has to crop or it has to pull data from the wider sensor. So what it does by default is pull data from the wider sensor so that it can do the stabilization while you're still getting the video that you see.
So this is the photos capture outside the image and videos capture outside the image, and then underneath it, auto apply adjustments is the straightening thing you're talking about.
Yeah, it'll do both. It'll, for example, if we take a picture of me, you, Andy, and Lori, and I get cropped out a little bit, it'll notice that my face is cropped, and it'll backfill the image with the data from the ultra wide lens. It's not on by default though, because Apple is overly sensitive about privacy, and if you're framing a shot to keep certain things out of the photo, they don't want you to accidentally include information that shouldn't be in the photo.
Yeah. So that's something you want to go into camera settings and turn on. Then it sounds like all three of those.
And what's also cool is that if you go in, like you'll see that little yellow button. It looks like a frame with like they called it magic frame before, but a frame with a little star, and that'll turn yellow and pop up auto if it detects something.
Where is that?
But if you just go into crop, if you go to one of your photos.
Okay, let me open a photo here.
Right on the if there's a live photo, there's a little icon on the left, and if there's extra crop data, there's a little icon on the right. But you can also go into crop, and if you've gotten that extra data, you can manually move it around inside the crop. Like if things are off center, you just want to recenter
So I have a
them.
yellow dot underneath that dial on this photo. What does that mean then?
It's not the dial; it would be the top right corner of the photo if you had that setting enabled.
Apparently I don't. Apparently I didn't have it enabled. Oh, nuts, man!
And it'll throw out the extra data after a month, so it doesn't clog up your storage.
These were pictures I took at our little party we had last Thursday at the distillery.
If you take half of Karsten's head now, maybe it'll work.
I gotta say, there's so much real. This is the biggest change that I think they've made to the basic interface of the camera app and the editing features. This is probably the first time that I'm actively recommending people to go to the iBook store and download the user guide for the new iOS and the new iPhone that has all this stuff. And that's not a complaint really about how quote difficult unquote this app is to use. It's just that they've put a lot of features in here that I think by necessity don't absolutely explain themselves. And there were a couple of things where like I normally turn off live picture because in the past it's just been I've thought of it as this really annoying feature that just makes sure that I can't actually see photos as photos when I scroll through them. It will always give me like a really lame quasi movie, and I had to remind myself to turn it back on because it's now doing a lot better with this selecting different frames.
I don't have live photos turned on, none of this applies.
Exactly. The stuff about being able to the old iOS 11 feature about being able to select a frame before or after the one that you actually took.
Because I was always under the impression live photos degraded the image slightly. So
it does, because it's like Renee said, it's taking a JPEG from the .mov file.
Right.
So it's not shooting at the full resolution, the full capabilities of built-in camera. But you'll still have the original photo of your kid swinging at the pitch, but you will also be able to pull out exactly the picture of the ball going off her bat.
That's the best shot feature. Does that also required for the making it a little bit wider? Do I need live? No. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna have to read the manual. Clearly, this has got and more importantly, the advice that applied to previous versions may not apply very well. Like turn off live photo. There might be a reason.
Lori has like 100 articles on iMore.
Oh, good, Lori. I'd much rather read Lori than the manual. So that's good to know.
A little more interesting.
Absolutely.
And better pictures.
No, you know what's great about those? They have a long tail because I always go back and say, how do I do this? And I can find Lori's article. And it's always a good thing.
Yeah. And we always get them updated so that so now you've got both versions. Like you've got the iPhone 11 and the older iPhone, how to use your camera stuff. So it's all mashed in there for people who don't have the 11 yet too. So